According to TransUnion, last year Canadians carried a total of about $100 billion in credit card debt, and they expect that number to be even higher this year. While some of us swear by our credit cards as a great way to budget, since they do track every purchase, why is it that sometimes it can be so hard to pay off? If you've ever felt like paying off your credit card feels impossible, or that something just wasn't right, after all, you've been making all of these payments, but somehow your credit card balance is still so high again. Today, we're going to show you 4 of the most common extra fees and interest charges that you probably were not aware of. Hi everyone, and welcome back to The Independent Dollar. We make new videos every week on personal finance topics in a way that is straightforward and easy to understand. Today, we're taking a closer look at credit cards and some of the additional interest charges and credit card fees that make it feel almost impossible to get rid of that never-ending balance. While these charges and fees are always listed in the terms and conditions of our credit cards, we can usually be guilty of not always reading them. Previously, credit cards were primarily used for larger purchases only, but are now being promoted as the ideal choice for things as small as a cup of coffee. Understandably, especially for those of us new to credit, we often overlook a 20-page term and condition booklet for something that seems to be a natural part of everyday life now. So to try and shed some light on the most common hidden fees and interest charges, let's take a closer look so we can hopefully save some money together and get rid of that credit card bill. First up is how the interest is charged on your credit card. When you buy something on your credit card, you're sent a bill with a balance and a due date. For today's example, let's assume that due date is the 28th. If you don't pay your bill in full by that time, then you're going to be charged interest on your purchases. The trick here, though, is that you're not just charged interest on the amount that you didn't pay. You will be charged interest on the entire bill because you didn't pay off the full balance. So as an example, let's say the balance on your statement as of the 28th is $3,000. Throughout the month, you make a few payments and you manage to pay off $2,900 by the 28th. While most of us would consider that a success, after all, you only have $100 left to pay, you will be charged interest on the entire $3,000. On top of that, not all charges on your credit card have an interest-free period. Some of the most common ones are bill payments, gaming transactions, including some lottery tickets, and all other cash-like transactions. This leads us to our next category, cash advances and balance transfers. Cash advances in most cases not only carry substantially higher interest rates, but the way that the interest is charged is much more expensive. On top of that, there are additional fees to use these types of transactions. As we mentioned earlier, normal purchases usually carry an interest-free period up until the due date on your bill. With cash advances, though, that is not the case. Interest starts getting charged immediately, so the next time you take out a cash advance on your credit card, think of it as being the same thing as taking out a loan at 20% or higher. If you can, try looking for a lower interest rate loan or a line of credit before taking a cash advance on your credit card. Did you know, however, though, that balance transfers are treated the same way as a cash advance? While it may have sounded like a good idea to transfer your credit card balance to another card for a limited time promotion, you need to know that after that period ends, you're now getting charged the same high interest as a cash advance would be. On top of that, there are additional fees to transfer a balance, typically around 3% or more of the entire amount that you're transferring. So even if you pay your bill in full by the due date, you will still be charged daily interest on your entire cash advance and balance transfer. What's worse, even if you make payments towards your credit card, it may not go towards paying down your cash advance withdrawal or your balance transfer, which takes us to our next category. Which purchases they pay off first when you make a payment to your credit card? While you might think that making a payment to your credit card simply pays down the existing balance, it isn't always that simple. In fact, if you're making the minimum payments only, credit card companies usually put those payments towards the lower interest rate purchases first. Any remainder above the minimum is then allocated towards some of the higher interest rate purchases relative to the total amount that you owe on your credit card. So if the amount you took out as a cash advance represents 10% of your total bill, for example, then usually only 10% of your payment would go towards paying down that higher interest rate cash advance. Our next category is missed payments and other common additional fees. If you always pay your balance in full every month, then the interest rate on your credit card probably isn't of much concern to you. However, life happens sometimes, and payments can sometimes get missed. Missing the deadline, though, for the minimum payment usually results in your credit card interest rate going up. Not only does this make future purchases more expensive, but it's also going to increase your next month's balance owing, which must be paid in full to avoid another interest charge. The best way to avoid this is to set up your credit card to always automatically make that minimum payment for you. This not only ensures that you don't get penalized with a higher interest rate, but it will also help you maintain a good credit score. Here's some other fees on common transactions that you may not be aware of. If you go over your limit, you're charged a fee. If you do a cash advance, there is a fee on top of the higher interest. If you don't use your card for a prolonged period of time, there is an inactivity fee. If you do a balance transfer, there is a fee, usually a percentage of the entire amount that you're transferring. Each company has different rules and rates, so the next time you take advantage of a promotion, you apply for a new card or you change your existing card, read through the terms and conditions so you don't get caught off paying fees that you weren't expecting. This wraps up today's video on the most commonly unknown credit card fees and interest charges. If you have any questions, comment below to let us know. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you back here next week.